Welcome to the Insights on Internships from Professor Jones podcast, or IOI for short. If you're a student studying hospitality and tourism management, and you have an internship or work experience requirement, this podcast is for you. That also includes those of you in event management, or MICE emphasis as it's called in certain parts of the world. It's my objective to pass along the knowledge I've gained in nearly 50 years in the hospitality field. As an industry professional, I hired and managed interns. As a faculty member, I supervised students in their internships and oversaw internship courses. As an academic administrator, I developed curriculum that incorporated internships and work experience. So I've experienced every aspect of the process. Each episode will typically be less than 15 minutes long. The topics will cover the entire range from determining the type of internship you want, through the actual internship experience, and finally the reflection afterwards on what you've learned and how to connect it to your future career ambitions. The topic of this IOI episode is Challenge of Innovation. This topic is part of a series of those about what you can do during your internship. The agenda for this podcast is first looking at championing innovation, narrowing the focus of innovation, the process for identifying opportunities, or the 3 W's of innovation. Then we'll look at meeting and events before, during, and after, and some specific kinds of examples, as well as hotel technology and examples. Championing innovation. Our industry has notoriously been slow to incorporate technology. But using technology is one way to stimulate innovation. So your role during an internship and your employees' expectations of you should be to use your Gen Z mind to look for innovation. Familiarity with technology will help you accomplish it. If they don't use you for this purpose, then they're missing out on an opportunity, and you should be pursuing this for your own satisfaction and your own good. Hopefully you've had some previous coursework that'll help you. If not, then it will be helpful for your future courses. So let's talk about narrowing the focus of innovation. There are many ways to approach innovation. It could be employee-focused or guest-focused. It could be on function area, operations, communication, guest attendee services, service delivery, distribution, social technology, and probably a plethora of others. But my focus is to simplify this into the greatest need area that you can affect in an internship in today's environment. And I think that is service delivery systems or service innovation. Either it's to make the employee role more efficient, or it's to provide the guest or attendee with a seamless experience. So service innovation in the service delivery framework means putting a service delivery process together with technology to equal the service innovation. Now, the process of identifying those opportunities, I use the 3 W's of innovation. Why? Why innovate? Where? Where to do the innovation. When to do the innovation. Let's look first at why innovation. Changes have been brought on by the pandemic that have affected customer expectations and employee needs. That's a big area for why you need to be innovating. Another might be differentiating in a field where imitation is really easy. So you need to be able to keep on top of things by coming up with new ways to do it. Or it could be because customers are not very brand loyal. Where innovation? Could be new services, things not currently being done. It might be core services, such as the role of an employee, a front desk person in a hotel, for example. A service delivery, in some fashion or another, between the interaction between the guest and the employee. And supplemental services, things that we have not done before the pandemic, for example, health and safety protocols for guests and employees. So when innovation? Well, we want to focus on short term that you can affect. When you can create a differentiating factor among the competitors is one. When you can turn your customers into brand loyalists, keeping people staying in your hotel more frequently, and that's certainly a big factor right now as people are beginning to stay in hotels again. So let's look at the key areas of meeting management first, and we'll look at before, during, and after. Before, it could be in the marketing and promotion areas, registration and attendee management, meeting logistics, meeting space diagramming. When I was at Hong Kong PolyU, our students were responsible for a conference, and they were looking to work with the computer science department to come up with some innovative ideas to address certain problems. And one problem they had was how to determine who was going to get the chicken or the fish at each table and their preferences. Now, one of the reasons why it's important to have someone with the hospitality focus here is the computer engineer's idea was you just have one table for fish and one table for chicken. Well, that's obviously not going to work. During hybrid meetings, the growth of hybrid meetings and your knowledge today because of the courses you've taken and the classes you're doing over the last couple of years and being able to do those in a virtual environment and be able to combine virtual and live environments is critical to being able to determine how to do this more effectively. Meeting presentations and sessions delivery is another area. Budget and financial elements. Attendee services. Use of RFID or beacon technology. Now, you may not be familiar with those, but what they basically are systems to help guide people through the meeting or the exhibition, and perhaps even make them aware of certain things that are happening at certain times in the area that they're in. And then after, post-event follow-up. In the area of hotel technology, there are many, many areas that we could look at. I'm going to simplify this into two, using apps and the guest room related areas. Particularly, these are related to customer interaction. In the apps or the operation side of it, where might you be able to use them? Think about front desk and communications with front desk. Housekeeping, maybe how they even communicate between departments with the front desk, for example. Restaurants, how do they get their specials of the day out there and communicated? Maybe you might want to look at QR codes as a directory of resources, for example, within the hotel. Could be done on a QR code. In the guest rooms area, we want to concentrate on areas that you can impact. So we're not going to talk about the HVA system and other things that are more technical in terms of the hotel guest rooms themselves, but looking at things like check-in and check-out process. Special requests when the guest makes a request. How does that get delivered to them? How does that get communicated? Communication between departments, front desk and housekeeping. An example of this, there was a hotel in Singapore that students were working with to try and determine why they were having a challenge with the front desk having available rooms when the guest came to check in. And the front desk was blaming housekeeping for it. And when they got to the bottom of the whole situation, it turned out that it was really how the front desk was entering the information into the system that was causing the problem. Certainly, artificial intelligence, AI, the use of Alexa, other tools along those lines, one of my personal favorites. So in summary, you want to utilize your Gen Z knowledge of technology to improve the employee role, which might also improve their morale, or the guest satisfaction with their experience. You put the service delivery systems and technology together to generate the service innovation. Now, your goal in this is to meet the challenge of innovation. Thanks for listening to this episode of my IOI podcast. If you heard something you liked, please share it with your fellow classmates. I'd also encourage you to forward it on to your faculty internship supervisor. Hey, you could even include your supervisor at your place of work. Enjoy your internship learning experience.